Coming to you live from just outside the swamp of the nation's capital. Get ready for invigorating talk, commentary, and debate on the issues affecting your life. Grab your favorite drink. It's Nightcaps with Nate. Now, here's Nate.
Happy Friday. It is Good Friday. And the most cheesiest song I'm going to play for this Friday is called Rebecca Black Friday. It was written like back in 2011 by some rich kid. I used to use this to wake up my little girls on Friday, and they hated it. Even they hated the song. It was rated by MTV the worst video and song ever written. And I agree. So, welcome to Nightcaps and Nate. I am Nate.
I am Natalie.
And we're here to discuss a lot of issues for this Friday night. Now, just a little note. This will be our last Friday broadcast that we do. We are moving to a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday only format as the coronavirus is the lockdown is gonna end pretty soon. Everybody's gonna be stir crazy and wanting to be going out on their Fridays. And so with that, we're gonna keep that in mind, and in hopes of the lockdown being unlocked pretty soon, we are actually going to suspend our Friday shows. Now, if for some reason this thing happens again and we're all locked down again, then we may revisit the issue of having our Friday show. But typically we want to keep it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday as of now. So we got a lot to unpack today. What are you drinking today?
I'm drinking Barefoot Riesling.
Okay. All right. Some good old Barefoot. I'm drinking. Wait, what do you think I'm drinking?
Bacardi and Coke.
Diet Coke. Come on, I'm on a diet. Zero carb, baby. Zero carb. Although I eat a lot of carbs since I've been on this horrific jail they call the lockdown or quarantine. You want to stir crazy yet?
A little bit. Ready to. Yes.
I'm going a lot of bit stir crazy.
Hang out, do stuff. So looking at my walls.
Dude, I'd give anything not to even just get takeout, just to go to any hole in the wall and get a beer and a burger, you know what I'm saying, and have other humans around again. We are social beings, okay? I know you like all that psychology bullshit, so I'm sure you would agree. We are social beings.
We are social beings. You and I are both extroverts, so,
yes, that's why we do this show. Can you imagine an introvert doing the show? Like Steve Jobs?
No,
neither could I. All right, so let's get right into it. Tonight we're going to have a COVID-19 update. Lots of updates on the COVID-19. See where we stand. Looks like we have some good news, by the way. I'm going to show you in a second. We have actual flattening of the curve.
Mm-hmm.
So let me go to the slides. I know you won't be able to see this, Natalini Budini, but COVID-19 update. If you look on your left-hand side of the screen, that is the total daily new deaths. I know that sounds gruesome that we even talk like this, but these are the daily deaths. And if you look down at the bottom, you will see a circle, and you can see some leveling out. Does this mean that we are flattening the curve? I sure as hell hope so. And if you look at the right side, those are daily new cases. Now remember, those are daily new cases, and we're testing more people now than ever. So if that's flattening out, that is actually some really good hope, because the deaths will obviously lag the flattening of the daily new cases curve, because it takes time to for this to kill you, 14 days or whatever it takes. So that is really good news. Curve is flattening. Top 10 states in deaths: New York, this per capita: New York, New Jersey, Louisiana, Michigan, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Washington, and then Washington D.C. is number 8. Indiana and Illinois, as you can see, a whole stream of blue there, except for one red. Kudos to California, though. They are a Democrat, very liberal state. However, they were prepared. I like California because they treat themselves like they are another country, and they actually took preparedness to the next level. They have the largest population of any state, and yet they are 28th per capita in deaths. So maybe other Democrats can learn from Governor Newsom of California, and maybe from the sea of red states doing so much better. Of course, that's my take. What's your take, Natalie?
I feel like there are a lot of Democratic states that are doing well. I know right now you're not very impressed with Gretchen Whitmer, but I'm pretty impressed with how she's handling it.
Why? Because she gets out on the news every day, and not even local news. She gets out on national news, and they're giving her free press. I mean, Governor Cuomo, I even gave him a B, but when I was looking in retrospect, the only reason why he gets a small pass is because of New York City. And if you've ever been to New York City, which I used to work in and out of New York City sometimes, I used to travel there a lot. It literally is a city stacked on top of itself. So whereas a precinct, for instance, for a police department in a regular city might cover, 2 square miles, they cover like 2 or 3 blocks, and that's a whole precinct because so many people live up. So they're dealing with that many people. I'm serious. Like in 2 or 3 blocks, you could have 10,000 people living. Yeah. And so when you're sharing the plumbing and the air filtration system and all that stuff, that's the one pass he's got. Okay? New Jersey has no excuse. Louisiana has zero excuse. Washington, D.C. has zero excuse. And the state of Michigan has zero excuse. State of Michigan has absolutely no excuse. Now, she could try to blame it a little bit on Snyder because she just got in 2019, but it is still her state. And if we even just gave her a pass and said, fine, that's it, okay, got that. But to raise her up as a hero, as we're going to see later, that's stupid. She's posturing herself.
Well, she's making a lot of really hard decisions right now.
Every governor's making hard decisions right now.
Well, right now she's closing down. She's prioritizing health over business. First of all, it doesn't matter what the economy looks like if we're all sick and bad.
If we all got it, she would have lost 0.66%, 1% of her population. Now, of course, we don't want to do that. My point is that why wasn't she ready? We live in a country that's modeled, where the EU is modeled after us. If you notice in the EU, you have Germany, Italy, Luxembourg, whatever. They all have their own militaries, their own government, their own courts, their own licensing systems. Same with the United States. We have 50 states that have their own executive branch, legislative branch, judicial branch, their own military called the National Guard. Some even have another defense force on top of the National Guard, their own licensing, their own laws. That's why marriage was supposed to be a state right issue. That's why abortion should be a state rights issue. That's why everything's a state rights issue. And so the preparedness of your state is your business as a governor, just like the preparedness of the country as a whole falls on the President of the United States, who, by the way, is all the way down, if you look at these slides, down to 15th. So I think he's doing well on the world stage. The USA is ranked 15th, way down here.
Because of a lack of testing.
No, this is deaths. I did it by deaths that we couldn't take into effect testing.
But there's so many deaths, and if you don't test properly in your country, then when people die, then it gets missed after they die, or they give it a different cause or a different reason for it.
Well, I judge the states the same way.
Are so low because look at our coronavirus cases. We know that's.
Yeah, but right now. There's rumors that we're assigning every single death to.
Even China with coronavirus cases.
Well, so, China, Iran. And I put an asterisk there. China, Iran, and Russia should all have an asterisk because we don't really know their true deaths. So chances are they're higher than what they have been saying. But we are doing better than socialist healthcare countries like Spain, Italy, Belgium, France, Netherlands, UK, Switzerland, Sweden, and Ireland. So
our data shows that we're doing better than them. But those countries, they test it and they test properly, much better than the United States has.
And that's open for debate.
For when their people die and they've already been tested for coronavirus, then
we're testing our people too. Yeah, we were slowed off the gate because we wanted to use real tests that worked. Oh, by the way, on a side note, I got a notification saying that almost every American will have their stimulus check by April 15th. Just wanted to put that out there. Whether you agree with the stimulus or not, if you don't agree with it, you can send it to me or you can send it back to the Treasury. They will actually literally accept the check. Back to, for all you people that are against this stimulus and this is not your president, you just write Department of the Treasury. You send it in. The website is on the internet. I can get it for tomorrow, Monday's show if we need to. Or you can just send it to me, and I'll invest it for you. All right. But I get to keep half the returns on investment. So, this does bring me up to my next story, where it just absolutely pisses me off, and this is the Gretchen Wilson story, okay? This is a classic case of media bias. Classic case. A puff piece. A whole magazine. I mean, I wanted to count the words. I forgot to, but I mean, it must have been a 3,000 word article, which is a huge long form article. And it is puff piece media bias at its finest. She is leading a state, and let me finish reading this, and then I'm going to let you respond, Natalie. But she is leading a state 1/4 the size of California, yet her unprepared state ranks per capita 4th in deaths, while California ranks 28th. She should be vilified as we are a federalist country and preparedness is a state responsibility. Thus, the reason they have their own 3 branches of government, their own constitution, military, like I just said. Meanwhile, Mean Orange Man is leading a country that is 15th in per capita COVID-19 deaths, assuming Iran, China, and Russia are reporting accurately, which is far better than all those socialist countries I had mentioned earlier. Spain, 2nd in deaths, Italy, 4th, Belgium, 5th, all the way down to Ireland at 14th. Yet the media has never done a puff piece this large for Trump ever in 3 years, no matter how well the economy's done, no matter what he's done. In fact, he didn't even get the customary 100-day grace period from the press that every other president has enjoyed in modern history. Go ahead, defend this. By the way, I'm going to say one more thing. She's an attention whore. She should be worried about Detroit Free Press, not MSNBC. She should be worried about her own state, but she's posturing right now so that she can become vice president with Joe Biden. That's exactly what she's doing. There was a thing that came, and I have our brother Brandon. He's actually trying to locate and do some research, but apparently Beaumont Hospital in Detroit is only at 60% ICU capacity, but yet she's creating these field hospitals in like the TCF Center or whatever. And what that is that the media will say, "Oh, good job, good job." Go ahead. I'll give you a couple minutes. Say anything on your mind about it.
There's a lot of different angles that I can go at with that huge inflammatory piece.
Go ahead.
So, and you talk about the media and their bias. Okay, so first of all, Gretchen Whitmer, not Gretchen Wilson.
Oh, Gretchen Whitmer. Yeah, it's not Wilson. Gretchen Wilson's like the big lady.
I think that she's doing a fantastic job leading Michigan. I think she's doing a very good job. I don't know about the 60% capacity. I'll have to look into that at that hospital. And I feel like given what she's been given from Schneider, what she's been handed over, I think that she's doing a fantastic job. I think that she maybe she is trying to go for vice president. I think she'd make a great vice president myself. Okay. And when you talk about the deaths of coronavirus, and you talk about the cases of coronavirus in the United States, it's important to remember that the Orange Man, as you called him, not your words, not mine, he is the one who wasn't testing, turned down WHO tests, which we've discovered are accurate tests. They're not 30%, whatever you said before, that was a false statistic.
Wrong.
They're actually very accurate tests. And he turned them down. And so the problem with the United States is that we were lagging behind all of those socialist countries, as you call them, in testing. So therefore, what it looks like our death rate is really low, but actually our death rate isn't low in comparison. So there's that. Now going to Gretchen Whitmer.
Not Wilson. Sorry, Gretchen Wilson. I should not have disparaged your name like that.
I thought it was my turn. Gretchen Whitmer. I think that, in Michigan, she's making a lot of hard choices right now. Michigan is, she's, shutting down business. She's trying to keep people in, and she's working with, kind of the cards that she's been dealt, and she's doing a very good job leading. And her, this is her, a little over her first year in office. So, I think you got to kind of hand it to her a little bit.
Well, she was Speaker of the House and all types of different things. Or the Senate president. I forgot she was pretty high up in the state legislature, so she isn't like some new novice leader. Like Trump had to learn kind of on the job because he was never a politician. But she's not. The only reason why people think she's doing a great job is because puff piece like this. Nobody's questioning. If they held their feet to the fire, I guarantee you that if I sorted that list and it was a sea of red states with the most highest per capita deaths, the media would be all over it. All over it. Republicans suck at leading. But because it's Democrat, they don't. Because when you are an organization that donates 12-1 to the Democrat cause, you're never going to write pieces that disparage your own voting pattern because it makes you look like an idiot. Go ahead.
This is the deal. So when it comes to the states and how they're handling it, I personally look down on the states that are not testing, the states that are keeping businesses open, and the states that aren't taking people seriously. Yes, it's only the elderly and over 60, and yes, it's only those who already have pre-existing conditions of the people that die. But each of those people matter. That's somebody's kid. My daughter has kidney issues. That's my kid, and so, and I just feel like when governors keep places open and they do this, it's just, what it's saying is, oh, those people don't matter. And the rest, everybody else matters more than them. And I can't co-sign with that.
Oh, where do I start? Let's go.
Something else that I have to say about Gretchen Whitmer. Gretchen Whitmer,
we'll call her GW.
I'm sorry?
We'll call her GW, kind of like George W, because they're about as effective as each other. Go ahead.
Well, Governor Whitmer, here's the thing. She's really, really tied into Blue Cross Blue Shield. She has I think her father has worked for them or whatever. So she was never, ever somebody that I fully trusted, ever. I have a problem with establishment, as I've said a lot of times before, establishment Republicans and establishment Democrats. And she is truly establishment. She 100% is. So I don't have a bias towards her. But when it comes to this coronavirus, she actually is doing a good job. And I feel like when somebody does a good job, you should say, hey, good job when they do.
I would. If I was the first. You think I agree with Gavin Newsom on anything? No. Gavin Newsom? No. That guy is an ultra-liberal. But you know what I say? Kudos to Governor Brown and kudos to Governor Gavin Newsom for having their state prepared. And kudos that such a large economy as California's is actually functioning and going to function quicker and not have to be locked down as much as, say, New York, because they were prepared for this. There is a reason that their death rate is so low. And you can't say it's not testing for them. What you can say, that's leadership. I might disagree with them on abortion, on high taxes, all this. But you know what? The world's 5th largest economy is going to rebound just nicely because them 2 governors took care of it. That's why a lot of people can't say, "Oh, Nate, you're just a Kool-Aid drinker." Because I gave props to Obama for fatherhood initiatives when he was president. I gave props to Obama for his crackdown on employers of illegal immigration, and I'll give Governor Newsom. But Governor Whitmer, no, she failed. Governor Cuomo, you failed. Especially Governor Cuomo, because Governor Cuomo has zero excuse because he's been in office for over 5 years.
He hasn't failed.
Mayor de Blasio, hold on. I'll let you have your chance. I gave you all the time you wanted. Governor de Blasio, you failed. You auctioned off your ventilators 5 years to save yourself money. Governor Whitmer is a failure, and I hope that we run her, and I hope Trump beats her up every inch of the way on this coronavirus thing, because being a small state like Michigan, it's not a huge state, it's 9 million people, and having the 4th deadliest state in a sea surrounded by states that don't, that's crazy.
Listen, Indiana is not testing like Michigan. I know they're not, because I know Porter County has 2 places that can test, but it's only for the most severe cases, and then they finally do. So I live in Indiana, and Michigan is right up north from us, and they're testing more than Indiana is. So whenever I see states that have low numbers, I always say they're not testing, and it's usually right.
Hogwash. The CDC is demanding that people that are sick, that we know, because once the CDC gets involved, when we have a pandemic, they mandate all testing for people who are suspected dead of COVID virus.
Resources. They still don't have the rapid test available to
Nobody has it. It hasn't been proven yet. So, all I'm saying is I'll give credit. Hopefully when we come out of this with much lower rates, then you're going to give our president credit as well, because, it's just right thing to do. The next story Next story for all you people that love to smoke weed. This is for you. Any type of smoke inhalation, including weed, is a coronavirus risk. So, you poor people that love your ganja, I'm sorry. You might have to put it down for a little while. Because weed is a gateway drug. Maybe it's not a gateway drug to crack and cocaine like they used to say in the 80s. That's why I do some of these scaremongering 80s commercials up there. Natalie's probably too young to remember these. But experts are warning smokers that even occasional puffs are damaging to the respiratory system, which could worsen symptoms associated with COVID-19 because it attacks the lungs. Coronavirus that causes COVID-19 can be an especially serious threat to those who smoke tobacco or marijuana or who vape. Why? Because basically what it does is anything foreign that hits your lungs causes an inflammation, and your body, the inflammation is what's causing the pneumonia when the coronavirus is on top of it. And so when there's inflammation, apparently your body tries to get rid of the dead cells by bringing in fluid, which is counterproductive, and that's how you get the pneumonia, and that's what ends up killing you in this thing. So if you're smoking weed, Natalie, do you toke a little bit here and there?
I have never been one who likes to smoke weed.
Neither have I.
I tried it as a teenager, and I just absolutely don't like it.
Me too.
It's down, and but there are some. I have so many friends who enjoy it and
they love it.
And to them, I'm just going to tell you, if you're watching, switch to edibles. Do yourself.
That's a good idea. I didn't think about that. You can still do so apparently in Colorado they have a lot of different edibles and stuff, and they have these gummy bears, and a certain friend brought them back, and Grandpa tried them, and Whitley tried it, and her friend, and it got them. Me, you and I are probably a lot of like best drug in the world to me is legal. It's called alcohol. I love alcohol. Unless you partake too much, and then the next day I hate it. But that's called the hangover. But weed always kind of slowed me down or made me stupid. I didn't like it. I just didn't enjoy it. And my friends, we grew up on that. By the way, that was Cypress Hill. I Want to Get High that I was playing the audio of. And, they'd sit around, listen to that, or I Got Five on it, and they would smoke weed. And I just never got into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you are into it, good idea, Natalie. See, that's why we bring you on the show. Great idea. Do the edibles. Make some brownies. Please don't smoke it, because if you catch it, and you don't want to exasperate an already bad situation.
Yeah.
It's kind of dumb, Man, we agree. How many times you tried it?
How many times have I tried marijuana?
Yeah.
I tried it as a teenager a couple of times, or
as a homeschooler.
Well, there was once that I tried it with a family member when I was pretty young. And,
just say the initials.
B.
E.
B.
B. Oh, Brandon. Yeah. BSK.
And
Shame,
I was really young then, and I don't know, I had a good time. But then as I got older, I tried it again when I was, 16 or 17, and I did not like it. And by the time I was a young adult, I tried it again when I was about 19 with a group of friends, and it just passed me out. And then when I woke up, I was still, and it just lasts for hours and hours and hours. And
really? I didn't like it either. Yeah. All right, moving on before we lose half our audience because they're like, are you crazy?
Yeah, these people are buzzkills.
We're not watching these people anymore. But hey, alcohol to me is the best drug. All right. I called it a week ago, Natalie. Democrats in a new poll want to drop Joe Biden for Andrew Cuomo, poll finds. So they want to trade a creeper in for somebody who has the highest death rates and was ill prepared. But anyways, again, he gets a little excuse in my book because of New York City. New York City's an anomaly. Majority of Democrats, the national poll found 56% of Democrats prefer Cuomo, with 44% wanting to stick with presumptive nominee Biden, a 12-point margin well outside the 4% margin of error. Hispanic voters, young people, women, and self-identified liberals are most likely to favor dumping the creeper vice president for Cuomo. Would you be for that?
Would I be for right now? No, I don't. I like Biden much better than Trump. Here's the.
I didn't say Trump. I said Cuomo.
Oh, Cuomo?
Would you? Yeah, the story is Democrats want to drop Joe Biden for Andrew Cuomo. Poll finds.
Yeah, I'm down. Here's the thing: is that Biden is nobody's choice. Like, I don't know how he
apparently was somebody's choice.
Well, I feel like Biden was. I mean, for progressives, maybe not establishment Democrats who've been in the party for years. But for progressives, nobody wanted Biden. No, everybody wanted Bernie.
I agree.
And for whatever reason, app failures or, I don't know, whatever happened at the primaries up to this point, and across states, Biden was the choice. And so now everybody's kind of going, vote blue no matter who, let's vote Biden, and I mean, I guess I'll get on that boat, but I don't want to. I
think for you Democrats, you have a problem because Democrats owned, and rightfully so, everybody should have owned the Me Too movement, right? We already know Trump's sexual harassment, but Biden, because of this COVID, eventually the news is going to have to report on his sexual assault, which is an actual crime allegation. And they can't afford to cover it up like they did for the Clintons in the 90s because times have changed with Me Too. And the Democrats and the far left liberals have a problem because they are either the party of Me Too or they're not. And that guy's a creep.
I don't know a lot. I've seen some YouTube videos that have gone around and stuff of him, kind of touching the necks and stuff or pulling the hair back of girls and stuff like that. I haven't seen anything too damaging. But if there is true sexual assault allegations out there, it needs to be investigated.
Listen, no man, you're my sister or my wife or my daughters, no man, no matter how much he is, has any business, especially in today's climate, in the last 15 years even, since Clinton, no man has a right to brush the hair back and put their mouth on or nose up onto their neck of another wife and all that. And that's creepy. And people give him a pass because they don't want to embarrass a guy, but it's creepy.
Yeah, well, I didn't see anything about nose. I just saw him kind of standing behind girls and kind of like little girls and pulling their hair back or something like that. And just kind of like, it looked kind of like like an old man who, I mean, I grew up in the church and, they pull your, and, and
well,
I mean, I'd have to go back through it, but the thing that I did see though is that a lot of the girls did look visibly uncomfortable, and they were kind of a little bit taken aback, and some of them were kind of like exaggerated expressions. You could just tell that they just seemed very uncomfortable, and I'd like to hear from them. How'd you feel about this?
Yeah. All right, the height of hypocrisy, the party of the labor union, although over 40% of the labor union now votes Republican. But the Young Turks, you ever watch the Young Turks?
Yes.
So Cenk, I don't know how to say his name, Cenk Uygur. He's a super liberal. I've seen him, smart guy, even ran for Congress. So they're the most watched online news show with over 200 views per month, so they're making a lot of money. But guess what he's against? He's now a union buster, or tried to be. The most liberal guy. So I'm just going to read the highlighted parts that I put on the screen for everybody. In a 10-staff meeting held the same day, Uygur urged staffers not to unionize, saying a union would be unsustainable given the Young Turks' perilous financial position. Gee, that's hypocritical because a lot of businesses say, hey, please don't unionize. It'd be unsustainable. Uyghur's position on the union has been widely criticized as hypocritical coming from a man who made his name as a champion of progressive causes. The Young Turks bills itself as the largest online news shows. An employee of the Young Turks involved in the union effort, asked to remain anonymous out of fear of retaliation, said that the workers' annual discretionary raises, which is they have poor salaries as it is, that's the reason why they want to unionize, were scheduled to go into effect at the same time the union drive was announced. But then shortly afterwards, according to the worker, employees involved in the union drive were told that, quote, they were going to have to delay our raises and bonuses until this union stuff got sorted out. In other words, that is a union busting tactic. Well, I was going to give you a raise, but since you want to go union on us, We just can't afford those raises anymore. Tell me that's not the height of hypocrisy for such a progressive. Has he just ruined his brand name?
I don't know if he ruined his brand name, but that I would like to hear his reasoning and his side of it. But yes, from what you said, that's pretty hypocritical, you know?
All right. I'm a conservative guy. And right now I'm telling you, I'm a pro-life guy. Against the death penalty, by the way, another area where I don't drink the Kool-Aid of the right. And I'm against abortion. I'm a pro-life person. But if I went out and asked somebody, I got somebody pregnant behind my wife's, and I'm pro-family, pro-marriage, man and woman, okay? I think everybody has the right to love who they want, but my wife and I, we believe in traditional marriage. But if I went out and cheated and had her go get an abortion, I might as well just end this show tonight because I'm a hypocrite. What's the difference?
Well, I agree with you that I don't know about all of the abortion part, but before that, I agree with you that is hypocritical. The thing is that workers have the right to unionize. I don't think that the government should even get involved in it at all. I think that workers, if they want to come, usually it's larger companies. They have an economy of scale. And so immediately when you become a huge company, that automatically gives workers an advantage. And that is that they need them, and they need them all to come to work, and they all to show up on time and to stay on schedule. And so workers can say, hey, why don't we, bring our supply, because that's what they are, supply. Let's bring our supply. Let's all gather together and let's demand a higher wage. We're not going to sell our labor for anything less than this amount or whatever condition that they have. And that's an advantage that they have, and they have the right to do that. So
they have the right to do it by law. I don't always agree with it, but yes, they do have that right, and that is part of economics. Hey, we're banding together saying we are one. So either you like one of us or none of us, right? All of us or none of us. And so that's their right. But for a progressive guy to do that, I think he just destroyed his thing. I mean, I
agree. Shame on him. If that is true, I would love to hear his side. Shame on him.
Oh, even the left-wing media is just beating him up on it.
Good. Yeah.
All right. So, and this next one, I think you and I can both agree on. This is an epic takedown of China, and I'm just going to go right through this. I'm going to put it up here on the screen. Natalie saw this earlier, but it all started with this. So there's a headline. And it was in it's a conservative blog called Hot Air, but it was a repost of things that were actually on the internet. I really liked it. It says FCC chairman, of all people, the FCC chairman, to Chinese spokesperson, can I speak to this long list of disappeared coronavirus whistleblowers? And what it is the State Department was responding to a Chinese story that came out from their official media. China and the U.S. must cooperate against coronavirus. So Morgan Ortagus, who's the State Department spokesman, said, hey, the U.S., we welcome China's call to combat the COVID-19 pandemic together. We urge Beijing to share all virus data, let international teams investigate how the outbreak began in your country, China, and allow citizens free speech. True cooperation requires transparency and real actions, not just rhetoric. So this China spokesperson comes back and says, welcome to China anytime and talk to anyone in the streets to enjoy the freedom. By the way, where is freedom and transparency when Captain Crozier was dismissed for a letter to save thousands of lives and medical workers fired for talking about working conditions? And at first, like, oh man. So the FCC chairman jumps in somehow. And he says, when a series of 9 tweets, this is Brendan Carr from the FCC. First, China, I would like to speak with Dr. Al Fen. She worked at Wuhan Central Hospital and tried to sound the alarm on the virus. Could you undisappear her so we could speak? And he links to a story. Second, next, I would like to speak with Chen Kuishi and Feng Bing, 2 video bloggers that tried to bring the world a glimpse of Wuhan unfiltered by your communist regime. Could you undisappear them so we could speak? Third, I'd like to speak with Li Zehua next. He worked as a journalist in Wuhan and refused to stay silent on COVID. In the last report, he live streamed his own arrest. Could you maybe undisappear him so we could speak? He continues on, just for effect, I think. I would then like to speak with Zhu Ziyang. He was arrested after he criticized your party leader for his botched handling of the coronavirus outbreak. Could you undisappear him so we could speak? All these are linked to stories, by the way. 5, they're not available for comment? That's odd. Then let me speak with Ren Ziqing. He committed the high crime of writing an article criticizing your regime's attempt to cover up the COVID outbreak. Could you undisappear him so we could speak? Okay, how about the hero Dr. Li Wenling then? He was dragged to a police station in the middle of the night and forced to recant the early warning he wanted the world to hear. I'd then like to speak with Zi Linka, who worked at Wuhan Union Hospital. She joined other Wuhan health officials in trying to sound the alarm on COVID before being berated and forced into silence by communist officials. Can I speak with her? Number 7, could I speak with Zhu Zhonggrong? He's a law professor in Beijing that wrote an essay titled, quote, viral alarm, unquote. It says what the world knows: your authoritarian regime and censorship hindered efforts to slow COVID spread. Could you undisappear him as well? 9, as spokesperson CHN, does your offer still stand, or has it suddenly disappeared as things to do over there? Somebody put a thing, says, stop, he's already dead from The Simpsons. Man, I love it. I don't think anybody's ever taken down or taken on the Chinese government like this administration. You don't have to even give credit to Trump, but this guy right here, just beat the hell out of him. Because they brought up Captain Crozier, which we already debated. I think it was an OPSEC thing. He should have got fired, but it does look pretty shaky. The liberals don't get it because a lot of the liberals don't serve in the military, so they don't understand what OPSEC is. And of course, we were right on this show when we said it was OPSEC because China just tried to use it against us. Mm-hmm. But man, having to ask for 9 people to undisappear so that we can actually investigate, talk to them, I think that's a pretty damning story, man. It took him right down. What do you think?
I'd love to see the response.
Huh?
I said I would love to see their response.
Well, I don't think that they have much of a response. I mean, because China's really damaged its reputation, this whole mess. We already knew. We kind of turned a blind eye. The whole world did because they were such a big country and we needed to trade with them. But it started, their wall started to crack when Trump finally took them on and issued tariffs, whether you agree with the trade war or not. It really woke them up because finally somebody's actually really standing up to them. And then when they unleashed this Wuhan thing and then disappeared all these people, and we had people traveling. I think it said 40,000 people traveled to the United States from Wuhan until we found out about it. 40,000. So, of course, people are probably getting sick way before we even knew about COVID. A lot of people say, hey, I was sick in November and December. I wonder if that was it. They just did a study in another country, Germany maybe, and 15% of the people they tested didn't even know. They were just testing random samples of people. And they think that 15% of all of Germany has already had it, and most of them don't even know it.
Yeah. Well, and there's a lot of people, too. I have a friend of mine who knows she has COVID-19 because she was in contact, romantically with somebody who had COVID-19. And so that person was tested, the person that she was involved with. But because that person was already tested, she knew what it was. She knew how to take care of it. She took care of it at home. She was never tested for it, but she had a terrible time with it. She, couldn't breathe, just had a very, very hard time with it.
Yeah. And so January, Whitley was down.
She said it was like way worse than the flu. She probably hit pneumonia, and I mean,
probably.
That's pretty bad. And so there's lots of people like that who haven't hit, will never be tested. They'll never be part of our data pool,
Well, I think that they're going to get to the bottom of it with when they get more rapid tests and cheaper tests. But like Whitley in January, she was sick. She was sick as a dog. In fact, she was sick, got better, and then got sick again right away. Just kind of like how that happens. And, looking back, we're like, wow, we're in the D.C. area. Even though I live in West Virginia, we're Maryland, Northern Virginia, D.C., right up that 95 corridor, New York City, New Jersey, all that. So there could have been thousands and thousands of people walking around among us. And feel free to comment right now if you were sick in December or January and you don't think it was a flu, you think it was maybe something like this. I mean, we'd love to see them. We're not going to read them on the air right now because we're about to get to our final thoughts, but we'd love to hear your comments. Final thoughts. I know you're no longer a believer, which is fine, but this is for the vast majority of America, which are Christian. It is our Holy Weekend. So if we cannot go to church to celebrate today's Good Friday, the death of Jesus Christ, and Christians believe on Sunday that he was resurrected, remind your loved ones the significance of this weekend. It isn't just about Easter bunnies and eggs and stuff. For 2 billion Christians across the world, this is a holy weekend. A lot of people cannot go to church this weekend. And, it's sad. This is probably the only Easter I've ever seen where the churches won't be packed because of this virus. And it's just so surreal.
But look at the bright side for the atheists, though. You guys get to have a weekend off.
Well, yeah, but I mean, atheists, they don't have a holy weekend. So, whether this is the Jewish Passover, any of that stuff, we still should respect everybody's religion. It's unfortunate that people can't go and congregate and celebrate whatever religion they are because of this virus. Hey, Donald Trump was asked yesterday or 2 days ago on a press conference, hey, can you give a shout out to food workers and grocery workers? And he actually did it. Very proud of him for doing that. It shows humility because they are the people out there on the front line who are going to work every single day, risking themselves. In Walmart and other places, they don't even have the shields like we have in our gas stations now. Kudos to them. They're out there. There's people dying of this disease. I know that Natalie would agree. But any parting words before I let everybody go?
Have a happy Easter.
Happy Easter. Goodbye.
This has been Nightcaps with Nate. Please join Nate for a nightcap every weeknight at 9 Eastern here on Facebook Live.